Hi, I'm Rich Jordan from Curiosity Software, and welcome to the next video in the series looking at test approaches and test strategies. We're going to look at things you need to consider when thinking about how you're going to execute your testing. Everybody focuses on automated tools for test execution, but the World Quality Report suggests that only around 15 to 20% of tests that are run by teams are actually automated. So in this video, we'll look at some of the fundamental pieces that need to be in place to ensure that your test execution through automation is effective, efficient, and if your organization is driven by the automation percentage, that number starts to go up. Building on previous videos in the series, we've put in a lot of groundwork for testing. We've broken down our systems into small observable components, we've understood the importance of understanding change and the need to minimize maintenance as change inevitably happens, refactoring our test assets as we have the key inputs for industrialization, making things known, described, predictable and repeatable. Now we can think about the logistics. How will I execute my tests? When looking at automation for test execution, there are some key factors teams need to consider. Does my tool provide the testing capability I want to implement? If I want to exploit API testing, choosing just a browser-based tool or framework isn't going to work. Do I have the requisite skill in the team? Do I have the right level of technical skill and experience to implement and maintain a test tool or framework within a certain language? A consideration around which language might be to align the test framework to the system under test. So if your team develops a front end built in JavaScript, it might be beneficial to align the test framework to JavaScript. How will I run my tests? Will your tests be orchestrated as part of a pipeline, run on a daily basis or as part of a build process? Or will you execute your tests from a more traditional test management tool? However you choose to run them, you will need to consider the mechanisms and prerequisites required, how you'll store the run evidence, whether you'll have an audit or controls requirement to keep that information, or you need it to triage any failures. Understanding the right tool to use at the team level needs to also be considered in conjunction at the organisational level. If each team chooses their favourite, the organisation can be left with a tooling proliferation which can cause cost and maintenance headaches, and so an organisation should really look towards a set of principles for teams to follow based on the points mentioned previously, and where possible encourage a central community of practice to share common best practices and consistency. Modeler provides a unique solution to the problem of which execution tool by allowing pretty much the use of any. In an innovative way, Modeler gives teams the ability to build up automation modules in the language of the team's choice, much in the way teams would build out a framework today. However, the big difference is these modules are linked to models that help the testers and the rest of the team understand what the system does and how it changes. That means, as the system inevitably changes, the team is able to use Modeler to model those changes and regenerate the test execution assets in line with the changes to the system. Refactoring the automation sounds a little too good to be true, but you can see many demonstrations on the Curiosity channel.